Sisters, do you like this jeans and you think the bow is cute? Or do you like wearing leggings because it's comfortable? Too bad for you, because that little cute bow on your waist is a signal to get men's attention to your nether region. And apparently the leggings is like the equivalent of you being nude. Let me tell you, these are the real things that a man has said to me. A man I was in a relationship with. Well, let me tell you, that relationship did not end well. Hey besties, welcome back to Comfort Food Confession. Can we talk for a second? Because I need to tell you the most emotionally immature man I have ever been entangled with. Like, the bar was so low and the standards were non-existent. That was a situationship built entirely of trauma bonding, manipulation, and the kind of logic that makes you go, excuse me, what? This was back when I was 20 and he was 26 and somehow I was the matured one. So if you're ready, grab your comfort food, let's sit down and spill some tea. So picture this. I was in college, I was doing long distance relationship with my boyfriend at the time, and I admit I am a clingy girly, okay? I need attention, I need physical affection. And with long distance, the connection was really lacking. So I met this guy, let's call him Kale, on a student film set. He looked eerily like my boyfriend at the time. Tall, long blonde hair, blue eyes. And it was oddly comforting for me to have the physical touch with someone who looked eerily similar to my boyfriend at the time, and we clicked immediately. Of course, I wasn't actively looking to cheat, but I had some family issues going on at the time. I felt emotionally very disconnected with my boyfriend at the time because it was long distance, so I strayed. And once we started hugging, when we started holding hands, things spiraled real quick. It was addicting. The physical touch, the affection, the attention that I was getting from him. The situationship lasted about 2 to 3 months, and at first, of course, I felt fuzzy inside. Everything was nice and warm and sunny skies and rainbow, shiny, whatever. It was fun, it was fulfilling, and of course, it was messed up. Once the honeymoon phases start to wear off, the real Kale started to show. So let's get into the stories because the things he said to me are outlandish and outrageous. So our college was hosting a showcase for student projects, and I was super excited because a bunch of my friends got selected for their films to be in the showcase. So I went to there to show my support, and I invited Kale to come along. At the entrance, they gave us a little booklet that has the film titles, the student responsible for the projects, and what the project is about. And I started pointing out the names, and I was like, hey, look, these are my friends. Like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I wanted to introduce Kale to my friends, and I was just really proud of them that their hard work paid off, that they got selected to be in the showcase. Kale, silent, oddly quiet, didn't say anything. I tried to hold his hand during the screening, but he didn't reciprocate. He was kind of distant. And so finally, I eventually asked, hey, what's wrong? Are you okay? And he said no. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Is this boring for you? Like, we could leave, we can go somewhere else, we can do something else. So that's what we ended up doing. We left like 2 films in when it was like 6 to 7 films, and I was really looking forward to talking to my friends and showing them support later, but it was fine. So I wanted him to be happy, so we left. As soon as we step out, he dead ass looked me in the eyes and said, I don't like how you're pointing out these dudes' name. And I was like, I'm sorry, they were my friends and I want to introduce you to my friends. And legit, this man looked me dead in the eyes and said, well, men and women can't be friends, and it feels like you're excited because you either like them or they liked you. And I was like, I can't show support to my film peers, to my classmates? What in the controlling delusion is this? And he pulled out the cards that was like, well, if you like them so much, then you can go be with them, but I'm leaving. And he was just giving me that kind of ultimatum. And me at the time, you can't tell me how messed up I was and how cringe it was. But believe me when I say, after the man gave me that ultimatum, I begged, and I pushed myself until I faked cry. Full-blown crocodile tears and everything. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have said that. I should have known better. Full-blown, baby. And it worked. It worked. Because he was like, hey, why are you crying? I'm sorry. And because it worked, it became my pattern with him. Whenever we have arguments, whenever he says something so outlandish, I just faked cry to get my way. And I started to feel like my personal character was slowly deteriorating because I was being manipulated, but at the same time, I'm being manipulative back. And that was definitely the darkest moment in my personal character. was another time where it was the last day of my hip-hop dance class, and I have formed a circle of friends that we became really good friends during the semester. And it was the last day of the semester, so we wanted to go have a nice little lunch after class before everyone goes our separate ways. That day, I originally had planned to go visit Kale after my class, so I called him and I was like, hey, I'm going to have lunch with my friends, so I will see you in a couple hours. And he was like, okay, sure. So we go eat, we had a cute time. I even left early, like my friends were still hanging out with each other, but I left early because I didn't want him to wait forever. I was literally turning onto his street, and so I called him to let him know that I'm close, that I'm almost there. And he said, you know what, I don't want to hang out anymore. And I was like, why? And then it was the whole guilt tripping thing, how I chose my friends over him and how he doesn't want to wait anymore because I prioritize my friends and not him. And then pulled out the same card that we should end this. Honestly, I should have just said, whatever, who are you? But of course, it was me at the time. It was the stupid me at the time. I begged. Cringe, right? Literally, judge me in the comments all you want. It was so cringe, and I admit it. But I begged and begged and begged. Crocodile tears was coming out. The tactic worked. And so we ended up hanging out. Like nothing happened. It was like, how dare you have social life outside of me? How dare you have friends that's not me? And like, hello, you're 26 years old. Don't you have friends of your own? There was another time where we planned to hang out, but I had work. It's a short 4-hour shift, but we made an agreement that he was gonna drop me off and then pick me up and then we could go hang out. Cute, whatever. He dropped me off. I worked my usual shift for 4 hours. And then 10 minutes before my shift was over, I called him and I was like, hey, I'm almost ready. You can start heading over. And he said, I don't feel good. I don't wanna hang out anymore. And at this point, it's a broken record. It's like, why? And deadass, this man, this grown-ass 26 years old man said, well, because you never texted me. You never called me. How would I know if you still want to hang out? Brother, I was at work. And worst of all, you also didn't text me. You also didn't call me. And we had a plan. We already made a plan. Of course I wanted to hang out with you. And it just so childish, so immature. It's like I have to constantly baby him every freaking hours. And if I don't text him, it means I don't want to hang out. Like, hello? How old are you, 5? And even after all that, he still acted like I abandoned him or something. But again, same pattern. I faked cry. Eventually, I talked him into picking me up because there is no way I'm going to pay for Uber when we already agreed that he was gonna pick me up. Got back to his place, and then he was like, okay, well, you have a good day. Passive aggressively. And I just remembering I was sitting there and I tried so hard to think about all the sad memories I have to push myself to cry. Eventually I cried and I was like, so is this it? I swear you do not want to be friends with me when I was going through this. I was the cringiest person ever. And I really want to go back in time, just like, sister, come on, snap out of it. So after the crocodile tears came out, he was like, hey, why are you crying? I'm sorry, let's go hang out. And then I bounced back and I was all cheery and chippy again. Ugh, I hate it here. Now, this has to be the most outlandish, outrageous moment. We were hanging out and we walked past this clothing store and they have on display this really cute long jeans. It's bell bottom and has like a cute little bow belt. And so naturally, I was like, oh my God, that's freaking adorable. And then without missing a beat, this man, dead serious, goes, why would you want to wear that? It's almost like you want men to f you or something. And then I was like, excuse me? So I was like, why? It's not even skin tight or anything. It's long, it's kind of baggy, it's bell bottoms. And it's got like cute little bows. Like literally 80% of my body is covered. And so he was like, well, it's the bow. It's near your crotch and it's basically screaming for men to look at you there. And I was like, how insecure do you need to be to come up with that line of reasoning? Like the bow on my waist, the cute little bow accessory is me screaming for male attention. And then he goes off about how leggings are basically you being nude because it's so skin tight and he doesn't think that women should wear leggings. At that time, I was wearing like jeans. It's not skinny jeans, but it was like somewhat skin tight. It wasn't baggy or anything. And he was like, you shouldn't even be wearing that. It's still showing your curves. And I was like, ah! I was appalled. I was stunned. I did not know what to say. I kind of just laughed it off and leave it there because I really don't know what else to say. I knew full well that I was actively being manipulative while I was being manipulated. All of the crocodile tears, all of the fake cry, all of the apologizing for the things that I know I shouldn't, and I was just saying it just because I know that he wanted to hear it. Just the whole spiel of begging to be loved, begging for the attention. And him, he was emotionally immature. He has like the emotional intelligence of a toddler, controlling, deeply insecure. So we were both toxic for each other. And the scary thing was I started losing myself, my moral compass, self-worth, logic, dignity, standards, boundaries out the window. That did not exist for me as a person back at the time, and I just became someone I did not recognize. If there's one thing I at least want you to take away from this video is let this be a cautionary tale. That emotional maturity is so important in a serious relationship. It doesn't mean age. It doesn't mean if someone is older than you, that means they're going to be more mature. It really solely depends on how in tune they are with their feelings. How are they able to communicate? How are they able to respect your boundaries? If someone constantly guilt trips you, makes you feel bad for having friends that's not them, and punish you for not babying them all the time, that is not love. That is textbook narcissist controlling behavior. They're trying to rip you away from your other comfort zone so that they became your only comfort zone. And once you get trapped there, you can't go anywhere. And come on now, if you have to fake cry to beg for attention and to beg for love for someone, that should be your biggest sign. Set your standards and stick to them. Yes, being alone is very hard. Being alone can be very lonely. But being emotionally drained from all of these things that was going on, all these outlandish things that the other person would do and said to you, like, that has to be worse, right? One food for thought that I would like to leave with, for me personally, I think it's a good rule of thumb that you can stand on your own 2 feet, you can be independent, you know how to handle your own emotions before you open yourself to the dating game again. For me, I always think it's good to deal with your emotional baggage, for emotional trauma, anything that you were dealing with at that time. Deal with it first before you open yourself up to other people. You shouldn't be dating to fill that void, but it's because you have so much love to give that you want to share it with your partner. You shouldn't be searching for someone to fulfill what you're missing inside. That void is yours and not for someone else to manage. It's not fair for you and it's not fair for the other person. Your partner shouldn't be your emotional band-aid. But it's also not about being perfectly healed. It's just knowing your emotions, knowing your triggers, knowing your boundaries, and knowing that the love that you have is shareable and it's not because you're desperate to be filled. You deserve to be with someone and that someone also deserves to have you, but only when you both have so much love to give each other, not to be a band-aid for each other. To me, I think it's good to deal with your baggage first, get real with your inner wounds inside, because if you don't unpack them, it could start showing up as miscommunication, jealousy, manipulation, attachment, anxious avoidance, all of the things that could ruin something good even before you start. So yeah, date when you're fulfilled. Love should be something that you share, not begged for. And that is it for today's comfort food confession. Thank you so much for joining me and chit-chatting with me today. Please like, share, and subscribe. If this story resonates with you, drop a heart or a red flag emoji in the comments below. If you haven't watched my I Cheated and My Husband Knows Everything video, it gives a little bit more context of how I even got into this situation. So be sure to check that out. And yeah, thank you so much for joining me. If you have any stories you would like me to tell, feel free to subscribe, feel free to comment. And I just want to create this to be our little community where we can be open and vulnerable with each other so we can help each other get into the better and more positive relationships. Thank you so much. Until next time. And please remember to protect your peace and do not settle for any less than you deserve. Okay? Bye.